Why don't you handle the intro today, Wade?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Positively Governmental with Dave and Wade, and that's the name because it's positively governmental, meaning that's what we talk about, but we try to do it positively. And so far, so good. We've managed to stay positive for about 6 weeks now, which is tough.
That's a record for you and me.
And so, yeah, and so it's a show where we discuss the past council meeting and the upcoming council meeting and any other things we're working on that are working towards benefiting the people of Central. And so this is our platform for doing that, and we appreciate you for joining us.
Well, we Facebook live stream and we YouTube live stream. And after the show, by the next day, we post it on GoCentral.com. And I'll tell you what, I have a little work issue that just bit me, and I'm gonna mute myself for a minute and let Wade take you through the council. You printed the agenda, Wade?
I did not print the agenda.
No. Oh, no.
That's fine.
All right.
Take care of your work issue.
No,
I know
we're going to have to let that wait a minute. So let's see. On the council agenda coming up is, other than the normal routine business, I have a council agenda where I've asked the mayor to update us on the school system property and just give us a status report on where that stands. You want to kind of fill people in on that process?
Yeah, I'll do that, and you take care of your work thing. So basically, council voted 6-1 to ask the mayor to bring a purchase agreement signed to purchase 2 acres of property from the school board for fair market value up to $700,000, I believe is what it was. The school board is doing a good bit of improvements to that site. They're going to build a central office for their school board, if you will, the technical side of the school system. They're going to build it on that corner, and what's going to happen is the site that they need actually encroaches on the 2 acres we were hoping to buy a little bit. And so they're going to have to move some property lines 20 to 30 feet, into that section. And so it is my understanding that the mayor actually has taken their building, their plot plan that they plan on using, and given it to our architect to do some renderings on the site that's left available to see where we stand. And at least that's my understanding from the mayor. I'm hoping that we have an update on that. I'm hoping that we can get some renderings of what we're going to do, and so we can move forward, because the school board is wasting no time at moving forward on that site. I know that they benefited from our inability to get something moving forward. And when Senator White transferred the money from us to them to be used on that corner. And so at the end of the day, we're still going to benefit from that, because we're going to have all the parking that the $1 million is going to provide. And so we'll get to build our building, and they'll have their building, and it'll be a nice municipal complex there on the corner. And hopefully the mayor can give us an update, and he's got a status of moving forward. So
all right. And let's see, report from Roger Corcoran, all the usual stuff. We have a resolution to execute a cooperative endeavor between the parish and the city for the core money. That's the major clean out of all the bayous. We have one. This is to authorize the mayor to do to sign all the things necessary for the cooperative endeavor so that the project can proceed. You want to we haven't talked about this in a long time. You want to talk about that?
Well, as it stood, we of course we had our master drainage plan. We did a huge assessment after the flood. The previous administration put the wheels in motion for that, and then we ended up when we took office, we had our completed master drainage plan. It showed quite a bit of work to be done, but there was also some major improvements to Blackwater Bayou and Beaver Bayou, as well as Jones Creek and Also, there's some improvements to Baton Rouge Bayou as part of what they're doing with the diversion project. But the bulk of this that we're discussing on that is Beaver and Blackwater Bayou in Central. And the state, through the help of Senator White, was able to, I think, $54 million of the total project. The state was able to get the money for us, and our match was around $4 million that we ended up putting up. And we dedicated that money, seemed like a year and a half, 2 years ago, for acquisitions of land along Beaver Bayou. And the thing about the Corps is, good gracious, they move at a snail's pace. I'm part of an email chain with Mr. Bob Burns. He is pushing hard on the Comey Diversion Project, and I encourage that. I love citizens being vocal and productive. In other words, they don't just take to the airwaves and complain. They actually take an active role in seeing if they can spur movement. But this is obviously part of the process that the mayor has to get this cooperative endeavor through EBR, since we're sharing funds and acquisitions, and I guess because Beaver Bayou crosses, through the parish and parish roads and all that. But I'm guessing that's what this is about.
Yeah, it is, and the main thing is that the Corps is only working with one entity. They didn't split the. There's a name for the document that they're the program they're working under. They're only working with one point of contact, and that is going to be EBR. So we have to sign on to do this with them. It's kind of coincidental that two of the bayous are only in Central and the other three are only in Baton Rouge, but that's because the AMET and COMET separate us. Actually, the COMET separates us. Resolution to schedule a workshop upon adjournment of the July 13, 2021 City Council meeting to discuss and receive public input regarding road maintenance and to provide for related matters by Councilmember Furneaux. We're going to first mention exactly what we're going to do there, but then we're going to kind of talk about what a program that I'm hoping that we will all consider doing. The actual motion is to schedule a workshop. So the workshop would be 3 weeks later at the next council meeting, and sorry, this work issue is just eating my lunch. The motion would be at the work. You want to handle that for me, would you, Wade?
I will. Well, I will not be at the meeting. However, I'm hoping that you can get the support to get the workshop scheduled. And if not, we will obviously see if we can get the council members together and call a workshop. But essentially, it's, we have road money that can only be used for roads. And we have 160 roughly miles of roads that Central as a city owns.
I'm sorry, I'm back. So
okay, don't be sorry. This is your baby.
Well, I mean, the conceptually, we've got $16 million in money that can only be spent on roads, and another $4 million in money that we've earmarked for roads. So the last thing I'd want to do is take anything away from drainage. I'm pushing for more money in drainage, and we'll see how that goes this year. But if our road money can only be spent for roads, I wonder why we haven't been more aggressive in fixing our roads. So I did a little math, and this is a preliminary, rough calculation. It's got a lot of research behind it, but as Wade said, 159.1 miles of roads. And we've asked for this assessment of the pavement condition on all the roads, and that should be finished by late this fall, early winter. And they're going to tell us what exactly every quarter mile of every road needs, whether it needs an overlay, whether it needs nothing, whether it needs a base repair or just microsurfacing. And once we have that information, we can turn crews loose fixing these roads. So I'll just, there's $8 million of what we have in our road funds that can only be used for road widening and road and creating roads. So that's off the table. We can't spend that. But there's another $8 million we can access right now. And we can access it for repairs. We can never use it for anything other than roads. So please don't say it's for, emergency funds or for drainage or for disaster relief, because we legally cannot spend it for that. So I'm proposing, and I'm open to whatever adjustments people want to make at the workshop. And all this has to go through a council approval process after the workshop, and then the mayor has to sign off on it before it ever happens. But if you would think about it this way, let's say, for instance, that our study comes back and says, look, 25% of your roads are in good shape. Don't need to do anything this next few years. 25% of your roads could use some microsurfacing to cover up those cracks to keep them from deteriorating. And 25% of your roads really need a whole overlay. And dang it, 25% of your roads are failing. We just need to dig those suckers up, put new base in, and put new overlay. The entire price tag at what's been given to us by engineers and vetted by several road contractors, that entire price tag is $15 million, 14.6. So if we have $8 million in the bank today and we get an additional $2.2 million every year in road money that we can't spend for anything but roads, my math says that in 4 years, we'll have $14.6 million this year and 3 more. So why would we not fix every road in Central? Now, if the calculations come out worse, if they say, well, none of your roads are good, they all need something, a third of them need overlay, a third of them need base, and a third of them need microsurfacing, well, now you're looking at $20 million. Well, okay, that would take us 6 years, but at least we're doing it. Do some of the major roads need more money than this? Let's say we've missed by $2, $3, $4, $5 million. So maybe it takes 7, 8 years. But in 8 years, every road in Central was in great shape. That'd be great news. We do have the option of dipping into $15 million worth of reserves if we decide we want to be aggressive with it. I'm not suggesting we do that, but it's an option. I'm hopeful that the numbers this fall come back and says you can fix every road. And if it does, that's great news. Let's fix every road in Central. I just don't see any point in leaving the money in the bank.
I very much am in agreement with that. And, one of the things that as a city, 15 years ago, we said, hey, we're going to be a city. And when we did, we took ownership of quite a few roads, many of them in disrepair. And, since we've been a city, we haven't done much by way of significant road improvements. I mean, we've got some neighborhoods that are in really bad shape. And so it's my hope that this assessment comes back. And look, this is like everything else. I mean, it frustrates me to no end, Dave, that we have a traffic master plan. We have a sewer master plan. We have spent great money on these plans and ideas. And we still, luckily, Senator White has helped secure funding to implement, I think, maybe it's letter F on our traffic master plan, which is the Wax Road Spur. But my thing is, we're taxing the citizens. Why aren't we putting these plans into place? Why aren't we doing something with our road? And I think the pavement analysis that you put together and asked for with CSRS is a great thing, because it gives us a list, a very clear list, and says, here's what needs to be done. It takes any politics out of it. It doesn't matter where it's at, what district, anything. This is the roads that Central owns that need to be repaired, and this is the order. Now let's do it. And so I'm excited to see the progress moving forward. And look, the flood did a lot of damage to a lot of our roads. It compromised quite a few of them. Here in my neighborhood, we still have pretty good roads, but there are fractures that are in the pavement because of the flood. So while I won't go ahead. While I won't be at the meeting to vote to ask for the workshop, I will be back for the workshop. Hopefully that does happen, because I will definitely support spending money, returning in the taxpayers' investment to them by way of services, which is what they pay taxes for.
Well, and here's really, this is more this whole program, and by the way, came up with a cute name for it, Roadmap, ROADMAP, Road Maintenance and Paving. So, Move EBR's got their deal, the green light program, what do you call it? Road maintenance and roadmap.
I tell you what, government
So
has a lot of acronyms, boy.
that's right.
Everything,
Um,
everything.
so if it doesn't happen this way, I'm good with that. This is all about changing a way of thinking, and I hope that we've changed the way of thinking on drainage, and that we've never had a large amount of money in each year's annual budget. We've always looked at drainage as well. We'll save up a lot of money, then we'll get a big project going. Well, no, maintaining your drainage is just something you need to do every year. So, we've put $1 million in the general fund budget this year for drainage, and some more, another 1.4 in our cap in our out of our cash reserves. But that $1 million in everyday maintenance is important to me. I think the same mentality with roads. Let's stop thinking of roads as something we save up money for and then spend someday. Putting $1 million in the bank to earn interest, or $1 million in roads so they don't deteriorate and cost us more money next year, that's probably a better return on your money. So nobody should think that we're taxing and spending. Tax and spend is a bad concept, but tax and don't spend is even worse. If we're going to take people's money, and then we need to return it to them in the form of better roads, especially since you can
Well,
only use this for roads.
well, so here's another angle. If we take the money that we're spending, sending crews out to do cold patches to the same hole 4, 5, 6 times, if we take that money, that labor, that capital, which is human capital, and can allocate it to more drainage or whatever, where they're not having to do the road repairs. I mean, so to me, it makes business sense as well, because you're allocating your human capital, which, look, Central runs very efficiently. I think we have 28 contract employees through IBTS. IBTS is very, very efficient in how they do their job. But fixing the roads, fixing the drainage, when you do these things, we go from being a reactive government, which Ms. Smith calls and complains, and we go fix it. And sometimes we fix 2 or 3 people's rims because the tires are busted and it's because our roads or what have you. If we become a proactive government with that thought process, who knows what the future holds for everything? I mean, maybe we can reallocate that human capital that's doing those chores of fixing problems that come in through the phone to being more proactive on other things. So,
well, after you spent the first $8 million on the roads the first year, I guess you could spend it that quickly, that we've already banked. It's entirely possible we could renegotiate the contract with IBTS and say, look, the road paving, you've been spending $400,000 a year patching roads. You're not going to have to do that anymore. You may be spending $50,000 a year. Let's put the rest of that labor. And Wade is a great point. When I thought about this whole concept, I wasn't thinking about the fact that we're going to free up people to do other things in the city, free up IBTS to reallocate. I was just thinking about, honestly, as I've been riding around the last couple of months thinking about this, I look at our roads more than I have ever before. And I'm almost surprised when I find really good roads. I was in Bellingrath the other day. They got a few roads that have been overlaid recently. They're in great shape, old Bellingrath. But most of the roads there are cracked and potholed, and it's an embarrassment. Now, think about when you drive outside of Louisiana and hit another state on the highways and even the interstates. What happens?
it gets quiet.
It gets quiet. Yeah. I mean, I want people coming out of Zachary and Baker and Denham and Baton Rouge when they go, ooh, I must be in Central. These are some great roads. I mean, it's possible.
That, and one of the things that drives me bonkers, and I used to do landscape work, did it for years, and beautification obviously is something near and dear to my heart. When I'm sitting at these intersections, and the new intersections, they pour a little, it's a drivable curb, but you're not supposed to cross it. And then they came back and they cut 1.5 inch wide gap for the water to drain. And then we've never cleaned the gaps. And so the gaps are all full of dirt, and some of them have beautiful grasses. And on occasion, if it's, if the weather's just right, you'll see one even bloom. You'll get a little yellow flower in the intersection. It shows you that that God knows that all things are beautiful, but the reality is, if we could reallocate some of that human capital to taking care of the things that make this city more desirable, like beautification, that would sure be nice as well.
Yeah, I mean, and like I say, I'm just excited about the possibility. And let's remember, going into this workshop, these are not answers. I mean, I've said it's $190,000 a mile to basin overlay and 150 to mill and overlay. We may find those are 220 and 170. Well, if they are, they are. That doesn't mean we shouldn't be applying the money we have to fixing the roads, because the more roads are fixed today, the cheaper they are to maintain going forward.
Well,
Avoid.
one of the engineers I spoke with made mention of, well, that might be just for the materials and labor for the asphalt, but then if you have rumble strips or striping, and I got to thinking, most of the roads we own are neighborhood roads. I mean, you have Lovett, you have Core, you have
Gurney.
Gurney, McCullough,
Yeah.
and so obviously some of them require the striping and the rumble strips, but most of them just require the a good road, a good base. I was riding through neighborhoods. I don't see much striping in any neighborhood, honestly, except at the intersections.
And think
So
about the economies of scale that we can offer. When you can tell a contractor you're going to do 3 neighborhoods, and they're all within a mile and a half of one another, and you're going to be able to keep crews on the ground for 90 days doing these 3 neighborhoods. All of a sudden, no mobilization costs for neighborhoods 2 and 3, and that kind of volume should get some very, very good bids. We may be able to beat these numbers.
look, mobilization is a huge part of contracts, and
Yeah.
so another thing was this engineer is more familiar with DOTD type projects, and look, in all honesty, a lot of times those guys push them numbers. They figure it's a state job. We're going to bid it, and I'm sure. I don't want to say I'm sure, but I've done my fair share of bidding for city and state projects. And if you really want the job, you know what you need to bid. And if you really don't, you go ahead and push it, bid it high, and you don't deny it. You don't not turn something in, but you bid it to where, God forbid, if you do get it, it's worth it. So,
yeah. So I'm excited. I hope this workshop is held. I mean, we need 4 council votes to have it, and of course, we don't get the luxury of no one going in. I've discussed this with one other council member, and that's it. And I hope we'll get the votes to have the workshop, and I hope the workshop I hope they go far beyond what I've brought and say, look, this is a good start, but here's what we really need to do. I mean, maybe there's some guys and ladies in that council that have better ideas, and I hope we can start here and improve greatly. Find some of the flaws. I've sent this program to the mayor today and to one other council member and said, look, pick it apart. Find all my errors. Find out where my costs are wrong or my mileages are wrong. And I've asked IBTS to double check that 159 miles of road, because that matters. If it's 200 miles and all of a sudden we're looking at another $5 or $6 million, and that's a lot of money. So I've asked them to double check their numbers, and hopefully we'll get between now and the council meeting. Maybe the mayor can get with some of the road contractors that have done work for the city, make sure these numbers look reasonable, and hopefully we come in with a better product than I brought to start with.
I remember one road project, and since you and I started discussing this, I've been thinking, like, how many major road repairs have we done? And I remember going to it was an emergency council meeting. I remember the room was overflowing. It was at City Hall, and I'm not sure if Junior was mayor or if it was Max still, but we had a $600,000 change order for soil cement in Bellingrass Lakes. And so I don't recall any other major road projects like that the city has undertaken, but it's high time to start spending money that's dedicated for the things it's dedicated for on those things. So,
well, circling back around, we've done some very major road projects. But most of those have been federal or state matches, actually state matches typically, where we're putting up 10, 20% of the money or doing the engineering, and most of the money is not ours. And it's great that we're in a position to front those funds, and we're not at a lack of money to do any of those projects, especially since we have such a healthy reserve and $8 million that we're not even touching in this that's for road widening and road and new roads, and that's the road widening is going to be most of the projects we look at. That's for
Yeah, and even if the Hooper Road project that got some serious money thrown at it this session to take it from Sullivan to Grimble Springs. I mean, Senator White's been working his tail off for Central, and I applaud him for that. He told, I think the number is between 60 and 80 million. You know, I mean, that's significant road work. And obviously we pay an awful lot of taxes to the state. I'm happy to get that back. But the fact that we own these roads that we have to take care of, it's time to start fixing them and getting on a program. Just like with drainage. I mean, how many times have you and I discussed the watersheds? I mean, we have 5 that not counting co-meet and A-meet, that we need to be, we need to really look hard at doing a rotation. I mean, maybe one of them will take a year and a half and another one only takes 6 months. But we said it last time we discussed it. You start at one, you do it, you start on the next one, and you do it, and you start on the next one. And you get all 5 done. Excuse my dogs, they're excited. You get all 5 done, and you start over. It's kind of like cutting that 2 acres with a push mower. So
let me throw one other concept out there. Let's talk about the American Relief Act. What's it called? American the COVID money. There is some large amount of money coming to Central, and it's
excuse me 1 second while you talk.
The rumor has been that it's $10 million. The actual amount will not be known. I read something else at the federal level that said it was a certain percentage of your annual budget. So some number of millions of dollars, some 3, 5, 7, $10 million. Again, the rumor has always been 10, but the Office of Administration is not ready to commit to that. They tell us that within days, if not tomorrow, then Monday or Tuesday, that all that will be known. The portal will be open. It's a computerized deal, and we'll know how much is coming to Central. We'll have 3 years to spend it, and it is you'll get half of it right now, like in the next number of weeks, and half of it a year from now. And amongst the things that you can do, a lot of it is very much COVID related, medical things, etc. We're not a city that really is in the need of that at this point. And some of it is for replacement of income. There are cities who've been damaged revenue-wise. Central hasn't. If we had lost $3 million worth of revenue in the last 18 months, we could use that money to plug that gap. But the fact is, with everybody staying home and us being sales tax based, our revenues are up. So it's kind of limited what we can do with the money. And there are 3 things that we can do. We can apply it toward sewer upgrades, which we do need to extend sewer some places. We can apply it toward drainage. So there's a black hole of money you can throw there, and we can apply it toward internet infrastructure. And at the budget workshop, Councilmember McKinney pushed for, hey, we don't get broadband at some of the rural areas in Central. We need to address that. So we put some money in there for a study and to figure out what that was. But I think Councilmember McKinney should probably run with this and say, if there's $5 or $7 or $10 million, let's spend a little bit of that getting broadband to everyone, because that's directly a COVID issue. Look at all the people staying home now, and the workforce has changed. And you want to have people want to come to Central and live in Central. We're doing a lot of telecommuting now, a lot of people working from home. So if you want to attract people out here, let's go ahead and make sure there's internet all throughout the city. Maybe this is the opportunity.
Well, and look, a lot of them ain't going back to work. A lot of companies are realizing that the workforce, sparing just a few, the workforce is more productive when you allow them to do what they wish with their time, as long as they can manage it. I know my wife is very much more productive working from home. And so Blue Cross has found it to be beneficial. I'm sure there are many other companies as well. So broadband, big thing. I think I'm paying for the Gigablast, but I'm only getting about 600 something of the kilobytes or whatever it's called.
Well, I work from home, and there's only one person that's upset about that, and that's my wife. But that's a whole different story.
That's the time where I make a motion to adjourn.
That's right. So we will Wade won't be back. Now, you want to join us next Thursday night from the beach?
I might.
Right,
I might do that.
If you're not having too much fun, I'll text you Thursday and see how much fun you're having.
I mean, I did do one of them with a beach background.
Okay, I insist that you have the beach behind you for real if we do this next Thursday night.
That'd be great.
But even if Wade's not here, I'll be here. Maybe we'll get somebody else to stand in for Wade if he's not available. But we'll definitely be back next week. Talk about whether we have scheduled this workshop and whatever else is on the radar. So this is Dave Furneaux and Wade
Thank
Evans.
you, Dave.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you, viewers. We appreciate you.
Both of them. Oh, I'm sorry. We actually get quite a few views, but they're mostly during the week.
I'm going to eat my lit pizza now.
All right. Have a good night.
That's what happened. The family got here with the lit pizza and the dogs went crazy.
I'll be over in about 10 minutes.